everybody. Welcome to another edition of Moron vs. Fanboy. I'm Lon Lopez from MoronLife.com.
I'm Derek McCaw from FanboyPlanet.com, and we are two self-styled pop culture experts using our keen knowledge of the insect world to fight crime.
Oh, that's amazing. I like ant crime-fighting people.
Mm-hmm.
We have a special treat for you tonight. A friend of Moron Live and friend of Fanboy Planet, too. I guess just friend of both of ours.
He's just a friendly guy.
Although I was friends with him first.
Is that the game we're going to play?
We're gonna play.
Yeah,
I knew him
true.
well. Tonight we have local filmmaker, auteur, and downright amazing guy Jason Salazar.
Wow, look at that new title maker.
I paid a lot of money for that title maker.
That was great.
Welcome, Jason. He is with Beyond Forever Studios, and Jason makes a lot of short films and a lot of. You're doing right now. You're currently doing a web series you're promoting.
Yes, I'm doing a little web series called Donovan and Sims, which
Donovan and Sims.
That's the one, starring David McGuire and my daughter Sydney Salazar, adorable little 6-year-old buddy cop show. So yeah, we're doing that,
and it's nice.
It's not a phrase you hear very often. An adorable little 6-year-old in a buddy cop show.
That's what we were going for. So yes,
it's charming, it's cute, it's clever, it's funny,
it's outside the box,
and it's hard-hitting cop drama.
Absolutely.
So I liked it.
With musical numbers, just like Cop Rock. He's got every single genre.
It's on the way.
I wouldn't doubt that. No,
I know.
Coming,
I probably
so.
shouldn't have said that. Sorry.
So-
Spoilers!
So the reason we have Jason sitting in with us tonight is we're going to cover a slew of topics, and Jason is a pop culture expert in his own right. And we're also part of the cover story we're going to get to tonight. Jason has a lot of experience in, so we might as well just jump right into it. What do you say?
Let's do it.
So let's hit
Awesome.
our cover story. Yeah, it's like it's exploding.
the beginning of the universe.
All in our faces.
I love
So
it.
last week it was announced, there was a big announcement and we should say that this is a Comic-Con announcement. Now, Derek and I, and even Jason, actually Jason has covered Comic-Con with Moron Life before. So between the three of us, our coverage of Comic-Con extends past, the last 10 years? 15 years?
My coverage is this would be year 14.
Okay.
Before I was the Fanboy Planet, I was with Daily Radar and went in 2000.
So next year you're going to get a Quinceañera at Comic-Con, right?
This is, oh my gosh, really?
You're going to have a Comic-Con Quinceañera.
Now.
Yay.
We've just
That's
named the
hard to say,
episode.
Comic-Con Quinceañera.
Comic-Con Quinceañera.
That's a
If
shirt.
I can get in.
So last
That's
week
right.
it was announced that the Comic-Con, which has usually now become really hard to get into, they've announced something different than usual. Derek, would you care to extrapolate?
I will do my best because it is somewhat confusing to the point that Comic-Con organizers themselves had to post 4 updates to clarify what they'd said, which is that in years past, let me see if I can do this, is that you could get a 4-day badge, which would include preview night. It was sort of a discounted thing, so it was kind of 4.5 days, and you'd have like kind of a group pricing, together. This year, they have announced that all 5 days, that's including preview night, which is really just 3 hours on the floor, all 5 days are each individually priced. And so what they are not offering is a full Comic-Con badge. You have to buy the days individually. Now, what people thought that initially meant was, you can only buy 1-day badges, and if you manage to get all 4, then you can get the 5th day, but you still have to pay for it.
Wait a minute, you had to trade and collect badges? Is that what it
Basically,
is?
You get the 5th day free.
Because they actually didn't even
What is
say
this,
that.
a Build-A-Badge?
They said that you can go to, if you have all 4, then you can go in and register and get a badge that covers all 5 days. So this made no sense. But what they meant was that basically, if you get to the head of the queue, because you have to register as a member ahead of time, you have to get an ID, and then you can buy up to, I think, for 3 friends, so up to 4 people can buy on one internet session. And if you're there at the beginning, then while there are still preview night day tickets available, then you have the option of buying all 5.
Okay.
And it'll
Wait a minute. Wasn't this the plot line for Inception?
No, but I do recall that movie confused the heck out of you as it was.
Actually, no. It was the two people next to me. But anyways, this
Wait a minute, I was next to you.
Inception made more sense than the whole
yes,
process that they're
their
doing.
argument is, since they're not offering a discount, they didn't want to do like a package deal since all the prices would stay the same. That's one. And then the reality is there are some people who do go just for 1 or 2 days. I suspect also driving it is this really pushes San Diego tourism, because if you make Comic-Con, as I hear, every year after I go to Comic-Con, people, I just had my 30th high school reunion, and people were there going, oh, I really love to go. Now, these are the same people that were like, you're a nerd when I was in high school.
Right.
But now...
All right, let's not get personal.
I'm not getting bitter, but now,
Okay.
but now it's all cool, and they all want to go and see it. And so to them, they just want to dabble. It makes sense. Get a day, go, but make a vacation of it, then go to SeaWorld.
But don't these
and
people know
watch the
that
abuse of killer
you
whales?
could waste a whole badge day sitting in line for Hall H?
But they don't know that.
They don't.
And so we're
And
doing
so-
a public service right here.
So when they do get that one badge and they're so excited and they look on the schedule and they go, ooh, I want to check out this panel and then I want to go look at this thing. And when they realize that they wasted all that time on the internet just to get one stupid badge to see one panel and maybe walk the floor for an hour, don't you think it's going to be riots in the streets?
Well, these are some of the problems, is that right off the bat, you don't know what the schedule is. So if you're buying a ticket, a badge for like Friday, you have no guarantee that the person you're hoping would be at Comic-Con will be there on Friday.
What? The Twilight panel's on Saturday.
There would be no Twilight panels because that movie series is mercifully over.
No, there's always like a reunion panel.
Oh my God! 1 year after
Tilda
No!
reboot, right?
Yeah.
You know what's
That's
going to
next
happen
year.
next
They're
year.
going to be announcing that.
Twilight
Okay.
Generations.
Right. Oh God. It's terrible.
Twilight: The Next Generation.
You know, Lon has one mutant power, and that is to kill my soul on a weekly basis. He comes up with one thing
Well,
like
you're doing
that.
quite well at that, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I am a soul killer.
Yes.
Anyways, so how do we feel about this, Derek? I mean, either Jason or you've.
Well, Jason
You know-
wasn't able to get in last year.
That was the first time, and like I was just saying earlier, in 7 years I had not gone, and that was more because a friend of ours got married, and I
Right.
felt obligated
And that friend was kind enough to say, no, Derek, I understand. You don't have to go to my wedding.
Right.
It was very specific.
Right.
I was very grateful.
No, I mean I've gone again several years in a row, and it's great, but it has gotten more and more ridiculous every year and less fun, and I've gotten a little sick and tired of waiting in line for more than an hour for a My Little Pony for my wife.
And I'm not
So-
sure that and I'm not sure that this is the solution.
Right.
I do understand they really are trying to stumble towards a solution, but on the other hand, they were also complaining last year that they had kind of opened up that a lot of side things were happening outside of
Right.
their purview, and that includes which clearly must have been what they're okay originally, but now it's almost a competing convention is Nerd HQ, in which they take some of the very same guests and they charge you by the panel, and then you also, if you're paying $15 to see Ian McKellen, for example, I don't know if he did, but
Right.
if that was one,
That's a steal.
right, to hear a panel with
Because at the Pride Parade, I had to pay
you paid
so much.
Shush
That's
up.
the thing
Okay.
Chuck does, right? Or,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
Zachary
Zachary,
Levi, yes.
Zachary Levi.
He's
and-
Volstagg now.
And he's so he's in the Marvel Universe, but they had a Doctor Who panel, so they had the whole cast of Doctor Who last year.
Oh yeah. Oh.
You could go for $15 just to hear a separate panel, and the money went to the Smile Foundation, the one that goes to
Oh, yeah,
work
yeah.
on kids'
Mhm.
cleft palates in Africa.
Yes, yes.
So I mean, your money's going to a good cause.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see just that, and then you can go around and just be in the Gaslamp district, which is a kick in
But
the
isn't this basically reaffirming the notion that San Diego is getting, Comic-Con is getting too big for San Diego?
Well, it is getting big, but
Is
it's
it
gonna
getting too big for its britches, though? Is it?
Getting too big for
they've
that building.
just-
They're selling too many tickets. and
They've
that's why
just
they're
they've
limited.
just passed an they approved a tax where the city is actually going to double the size of the convention center in the
Just
next
for
2 years.
Comic-Con.
Largely because, but I did not realize one of the things. It's not just for Comic-Con. There are conventions that go to Las Vegas and go to Los Angeles, where those convention centers are bigger than San Diego, and now they can actually, if they double the size of the convention center, they can make a bid for those conventions, and it won't just be known as, as San Diego's, for Comic-Con.
like WonderCon.
WonderCon is still
No.
smaller, but I think
Right.
the Anaheim Convention Center is bigger.
Or like the
Oh, yeah.
AVNs.
Oh
But
yeah.
I've never been to the Anaheim Convention Center,
Oh,
but I
it's
may go
huge,
to
yeah.
WonderCon this year.
Yeah.
So, and yet it's still considered a smaller convention.
Of course. Yeah.
But it's not just that. They also have to worry about They've had a lot of forgeries and people getting in on, and so there are a lot of issues they do have to deal with. And one of them is, as Lon said, is like waiting in line for Hall H. Okay, to see that. Well, they really need to have like a spillover room where you can watch, in another big hall where you're not,
circuit.
or maybe you're not live in the room.
D23 did that the past summer.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of other conventions have innovated this, and they'd be foolish
Aren't they
not
right
to
on
pick
the
that up.
harbor?
They are, yes.
Yeah.
Why don't they just rent one of those Disney cruise liners and put half of it right there on the boat? You know what I mean? Like Comic-Con at sea.
That's not the craziest idea. I mean, Comic Book Resources actually has a yacht.
I win.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Okay, broken
All right.
clock. You're right once a day. Fantastic. You
Hey,
have
at
one
least
more
it's
tonight.
better than not being right at all. So, anyway.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Amen.
He can always turn that frown upside
so-
down.
Absolutely.
I'm the soul killer. Anyways, so yeah, we're gonna have a lot of disappointed people this year that can't get into what they want to see, can't get to Comic-Con.
Well,
And-
let's just
but
say
let's-
maybe or maybe not. We don't know what the
Now,
ramifications
what
will
about
be.
this though? If you get, let's say, a Friday badge,
Right.
that only allows you into the convention center on Friday, correct?
Right.
What about all the stuff that's going on the outside?
Some will be available, some will not. Some of the coolest things at Comic-Con last year, even though they were off-site,
You still had to have
required
a badge.
The Godzilla experience, which Godzilla Encounter,
So I mean,
which I
don't-
think was the most fun. You had to go into the convention center, get a ticket there, and then be part of the encounter.
I
That
was
wasn't
gonna
just
say-
something you could just walk up
No,
to and go
unfortunately,
inside.
and the same thing
Oh.
was with, they had the Ender's Game exhibit, which was great outside in the park, fantastic, but you still needed a badge.
But don't you think though it might be cooler if they were like, we're accepting all any day badges to come see the outside stuff?
Well, I'd say
Because then
some
that
people
way-
last year were. Like
Right.
Disney wanted to do Infinity, so they had a storefront set up with Infinity, and after the convention started up, then like the first night for preview night, you had to have a badge. Thursday night was D23, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it was open to anyone. And so you're going to need stuff like that, and absolutely, and there are
Well,
sections.
let's hope they figure that all out. So
I hope so too, but still, there's great fun. People like to hanging out in the gas lamp on a Friday night, and you probably get into parties regardless. So
we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Most likely you are going, right? I mean, God willing.
I believe so.
Okay. So we'll talk to you
Fingers
come
crossed.
August.
I think I'm
Fingers
okay. I
crossed.
think Nate is going to go, and we're hoping Rick will be able to get in. We're
Okay.
not even sure. We haven't heard that for sure, but we're going to try.
All right.
So
Well, you'll have to tell us how it is, and we'll come back to you in the summertime and see if our predictions were close on or way off or whatever.
yeah,
We'll see how it
we'll
goes.
see.
All right, we're going to move on to our next segment today. Some interesting casting news came out today, and we're going to debate it right now in our versus section. So let's kick it right now.
Foot to the face. Compete with me for a catchphrase.
Sorry.
Oh, is she done? Oh, okay.
Please.
All right,
It's like
so-
you cower from that.
So last week, or actually maybe it was a month or so ago, it was announced, but I think last week it was confirmed that for Edgar Wright's new Ant-Man movie for Marvel Studios, that Paul Rudd was going to be playing, or was going to be cast in Ant-Man. We didn't
Right.
know if
Paul
he
Rudd
was going to
Paul
be.
Rudd was confirmed last week. They announced a month ago that he was in talks.
Right, but
And-
so it was
yeah.
confirmed last week that he is going to be in Ant-Man, but we weren't quite 100% sure who he was going to play.
Well, what they said was he was going to be Ant-Man.
Right. But now it was confirmed today that, or it was announced today, that there is going to be two
Right,
Ant-Men.
because that was the controversy. There are 3 secret identities for Ant-Man in the
So
comics.
Henry Pym, or Hank Pym, was announced today, and the casting news was that Michael Douglas.
Yes, that totally makes sense. If you just saw all those pictures
Yes, Michael Douglas
as
is
Hank Pym.
going to be Hank
The
Pym,
first person you think of.
the inventor of the Ant-Man, or the Pym particle, that was able to help him shrink down, and then I guess his helmet was
And
a
the
separate thing.
But no, he had that from the very beginning.
Right,
the
that could
cybernetic
help
helmet.
him talk to the ants, like a little Dr. Doolittle kind of.
Mm-hmm.
They should have got Eddie
Dr.
Murphy.
Antlittle,
Why
yeah.
couldn't they got Eddie
No.
Murphy to play Hank Pym?
Rex Harrison.
Who's
So-
Rex Harrison?
Eddie Murphy's going to be Black Panther.
Oh God. Oh.
He's too old.
Racial slur.
Well, good
No,
for
I'm
you
just
to help Lon
You
kill
like-
my soul again. That was
That's
Hey,
what I'm
great.
here
we
for.
did it.
Coming back.
Yay.
Yay.
High five.
Nothing left left tonight. Okay.
So, Derek, okay, I'm gonna let you go first because you are from Fanboy Planet. You guys cover the comics. You've got some experience with this. What's your feeling with Michael Douglas romancing the Stones?
Oh, that was good. Yeah, I like that movie.
As the
Basic
scientist,
Instinct.
as the scientist,
Liberace.
Hank Pym.
I haven't watched that yet.
I wish my brother George was there.
Completely, thank you, Bugs. Completely left field casting for me.
Now, Michael Douglas is what, 70, 75?
Yeah, he's in his 70s, but I'm not sure. He might be 68, maybe,
Okay.
or at least
All
his
right.
bio is saying he is. And it's not that. It's originally the Variety story actually said Hank Pym was going to be the villain, and then they recanted that, and Dave Tapia commented on the Facebook page that the writer apologized, said no, that was a misunderstanding, because Hank Pym has had, say, dark turns, I would say,
Hank
throughout
Pym
his
has
career.
a dark side. Yes.
Yeah. So I was totally not expecting this. I kind of figured that Paul Rudd was going to be Scott Lang because they kept saying.
Now, what's the story? Scott Lang is
It was a guy who his daughter needed a cancer treatment, so to get money for it, he stole the Ant-Man armor and the Pym particles in order to pull off a heist to get money to pay for his daughter's cancer treatment.
Was it cancer treatment or was it kidnapped? I thought she was kidnapped.
I thought she was sick, but it was not a time where I was reading.
Kidnapping, cancer.
I've read it more in
K.
in the past. Like people are just making that comment. They could be wrong. And I could be wrong because
Okay.
I just remember picking up an Avengers and who is Scott Lang. Like I didn't know.
Okay. So
And they said it was going to be a heist film, so it made sense. Here's my other thought: is Marvel's really good at beating DC to the punch with the concepts that DC pioneered, and one here would be the DC is the universe where the heroes are really legacies. And if you have a guy like the age of Michael Douglas, and that's Hank Pym, and maybe at some point he fought crime as Ant-Man, what DC property does it make sense then when suddenly it becomes younger guy, breaks in, steals the armor, and puts it on and becomes a totally different version of the same hero?
None of us know who you're talking about, so just tell us.
Batman Beyond.
Oh, okay, great.
Which Warner Brothers has, with all 10 thumbs that they have when they try to develop a superhero film, have been trying to develop for about 15, 20 years. Same thing, which you're right, I know I'm being obscure, but it's like at the end of Avengers when you have Thanos, and you realize, well, Thanos used boom tube technology. He's basically Darkseid. He's basically the character from the New Gods that DC has been trying to develop into film for years and years, and now they can't because once it gets up there, even though that was created first, Marvel beat him to the punch in the theaters, and that's what Marvel's doing best, is going like, it's your idea, but I got there first, and that's all that matters. Hi, I'm Microsoft.
I don't know if I don't know if I subscribe to that though. I think that
good, reversing.
Yes, because I think in the actual storyline. What is, I mean, aside from being Ant-Man or Giant Man or the Pym particles or shrinking, growing, whatever, what else is most closely associated to Hank Pym? Derek?
Wife abuse?
Well,
domestic abuse.
Well, what comes with the abuse? The wife. So
the Wasp,
You
yes.
can't have a Hank Pym without a Janet Van Dyne, which is the Wasp.
And they have not yet identified someone in that role.
Right. And
they
the thing
imply there is such a character.
Yeah, but the thing is now you can't. I mean, that's going to make Wasp now in her 50s, 60s, or whatever.
Not necessarily at all.
Well, I mean,
because they can do anything.
Yeah,
by
look
suddenly,
at Michael Douglas's real wife.
But
she's
Come on.
in her 50s.
Doesn't matter. She looks great.
Oh,
But,
okay.
but honestly, the thing is, in no incarnation, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I know we're getting deep here, deep cut in the nerdness here. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has borrowed heavily from what they call the Ultimate line, where they kind of rebooted everything in 2000, and so there are a few different versions of Hank Pym going around in different recasts. Not a one of them casts him as this older retired hero. If he's older, it's only by a few years. So this is a radical rethinking, and probably the most radical rethinking for the cinematic universe.
So do you like it?
than they've
Do
ever
you,
done.
do you agree with it?
I've had a few hours to deal with it. You were the one that told me. I mean,
Mhm.
because we were trying to come up with the topics today, and I was like, I was
But
out to lunch,
I'm
literally.
getting the feeling that you are excited about it. You are enjoying. You're thinking about it.
Marvel seeks out the most interesting choices they can make, and this is another thing where I think Warner Brothers keeps messing up. Warner Brothers rewards loyalty. Marvel goes with, would this make an interesting film? Whether or not it fits with what's old. So I might not like it, I don't know. but I'm thinking, all right, I'll wait and see because there hasn't been. Well, Iron Man 2 sucked, but one of those movies has disappointed me to the point of, oh, that was really a stupid choice.
Well, I have two comments. One, I trust Edgar Wright. I think he's a brilliant
absolutely.
director.
And Joe Cornish is a fantastic screenwriter.
And I also think it's probably going to be Paul Rudd's movie. So Michael
true,
Douglas
too.
will probably just kind of peek his head in or whatever.
For $5 million.
See, I don't know how I feel about my brilliant creator, genius scientist getting cancer from cunnilingus, but either way, I just think that ultimately
here's what I think, though. One thing we've got to mention is that they're filming this after Avengers: Age of Ultron. They've announced the casting of Michael Douglas. Hank Pym could go back to being the creator of Ultron, and they could introduce him that way in Age of Ultron, which will come out before Ant-Man. So,
well,
there's a lot of possibilities. We don't know what's going on.
I'm going to end on this. If that goes the way it is, then I predict Catherine Zeta-Jones as Jocasta. Look it up. Google it, people.
They're Jocasta, and they're separated.
Jocasta?
Yes.
Well, they didn't start.
That's quite a prediction.
No, Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones are separated.
No, did you read the Golden Globe said that everything's fine?
Oh,
she was
good.
just on the East Coast watching the kids.
I'm so behind in my gossip.
Oh, I thought you were a pop culture stylist or something.
I was fighting crime with my knowledge of the insect world.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, gosh. Anyways, we have a little time. We could probably extrapolate a little more.
Moron.
Jason, what do you think about it?
About Hank Pym and all
About
that jazz?
about Michael Douglas.
I have no issue with it. I mean, I'm not a comic book aficionado as much as Derek or probably even you, but I mean, like, I just read that today as well, and I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it's like when they had, like, oh, Robert Redford's in Captain America Winter Soldier. It's like, oh, that's great. I mean, like, they're really bringing in this whole other generation into, I mean, I think they're also realizing, too, like, all these old school actors are like, oh, I got to get in on this.
Yeah, the old school actors are like, what?
Right.
They're only making superhero pictures?
Because,
I want in.
because I want to be cool with my grandkids.
Right, and I think that that's totally justifiable, and I think Michael Douglas is Hank Pym, and like you said, with Age of Ultron happening first, I mean, maybe they're going to have some kind of little tag at the end, some kind of connection.
And the other thing with this is like when Marvel started with Iron Man, Ant-Man is a hero who's only, to most people, if they remember him at all, was played by Garrett Morris in a Saturday Night Live sketch back in the 70s. He's not a well-known hero. So,
Eddie Murphy can't be Hank Pym.
But you
whatever, Derek.
But you throw.
See how he turns it around.
But you throw Michael Douglas as an above-the-title actor, and then there's a whole bunch of people like Lon's mother and mine who go, well, he's dreamy, and they'll think about going.
So you're saying,
I know,
like,
it's disturbing to think about, but it will happen.
Michael
she was
Douglas
more
is
of a who's that guy who sings "It's Not Unusual"? Tom
Tom
Jones.
Jones.
She's more of a Tom Jones.
So she loves Mars Attacks.
You think,
She
like,
did,
Michael Douglas, Ant-Man, Edgar Wright, all this stuff, it's going to do for Ant-Man what, like, Iron Man did for the start of all of this. It's going to be like, oh, Iron Man, that's a stupid character. I don't care. And then everyone loved him. I mean, I was one of those people.
Or it's going to do what Scott Pilgrim did for Scott Pilgrim.
Well, no, I think basically.
But I love
Scott
Scott
Pilgrim.
Pilgrim.
Right,
awesome.
those people who were going to like Scott Pilgrim,
Right.
loved Scott Pilgrim, and the rest of the world went, what the hell was that?
Right.
But there's still. They love Hot Fuzz. They love.
I think even the people who saw Scott Pilgrim and went, what the hell is that? They still walked away liking it. They just don't know why.
That may be true. That may,
Because that's how I was. I mean, like, I knew a little bit of Scott Pilgrim, but when we went in there, I was floored.
And the problem with it is that most of his life is on video,
Right.
and Marvel has to take the gamble of it's got to be big up front, and so that's why you load it with Michael Douglas, and that's why you put Robert Redford in a Captain America movie, which to me is the most interesting thing of Captain America: Winter Soldier. Redford's in that. Isn't he up for an Oscar?
Right.
Didn't he direct Ordinary People?
No, you're right, and that's kind of one of the things I thought too. I was like, that is really. I mean, he picks his roles very carefully.
Oh yeah,
and,
that's true.
And the fact is, like, yeah, I'll be in Captain America. Well, okay, he's gonna, for the kiddies, great. But I think it's gonna add a lot of class to the movie too.
I think you guys are really discounting the box office draw of Las Vegas. I mean, Douglas still has legs.
It was
He
a
can
charming
put butts
film.
in the seats, people.
The geriatric
Las
hangover.
Vegas was
Yeah.
a charming film, but there I'm
was it?
saying again,
Okay.
my mother went to the theater to see that, so that's what they got.
Hey, my mother went to see The Dark Knight because Morgan Freeman was in it, and
Exactly.
he's a fetching young man. So,
Morgan Freeman in the Marvel
She
Universe
just thought
yet.
that he was narrating it.
oh well, he should have.
And now
been.
here comes the Dark Knight.
Oh, that Joker.
Why did he stop talking, Lon? Why? Now I'm bored.
Criminals are a superstitious and cowardly
There you
lot.
go. There you go. Watch
Well-
them migrate across the tundra.
Yes.
She went for
Marvel-
Tiny Lister.
Marvel Studios should have hired him for all their movies.
Absolutely.
Anyways.
He'll
all
play the
right.
Watcher.
No, there you go. There
Who
you
ought
go.
to? Oh, Captain America.
Wow.
All right. That's enough on that one. We've talked enough about ant people. All right. Let's wrap up tonight by finding out who is... we have an interesting one this week.
Tell
We're gonna
us,
find
Lon,
out
tell us.
who is our Geek of the Week. I want to know.
Fancy graphic. Oh, now it's upside down. Now you just ruined it by doing that.
Oh, wait.
Oh, wait.
Whoa.
Oh, it's better again. Okay. You had me, you lost me, you suck.
Right. It's kind of like that Great America. Remember that one?
That was a good
Oh,
ride.
God,
I like
yes.
that
I
one.
like that. It was fun. So, all right. So this week, the Geek of the Week. It's a small one. Don't kick into the segment yet. I want to introduce it real fast. So this week we were watching the Golden Globes. Just had it on in the background. Some people won, and we heard a kind of geeky fanboy thing. All right, you can kick the segment now. Kick it in. So this week we're watching the Golden Globes. American Hustle wins for, I don't know, comedy or something or whatever. And this guy, as he's collecting his award, he's one of the producers.
Okay.
He thanks everybody he's supposed to thank. Thanks the writer, thanks the producers, blah, blah, blah. And right here he goes, Excelsior. Which, if you're a comic geek nerd fan, know that what is that, Derek? How should we know that?
Because basically Stan Lee popularized it. That's how he ended every single column in Marvel Comics from about 1964 forward. He ends all his podcasts, his vidcasts with that Excelsior.
So our Geek of the Week's name is Richard Suckle, producer for
They call him Honey.
Sorry.
For
I'm
American-
12 years old right now.
for American
You know,
It's
Hustle.
just happening. Sorry.
You know, I know.
His friends call him Dick.
No,
So
stop
so basically,
it. Well, now we'll never get Hollywood contracts.
so what a geeky thing to do by
Yeah, that was what
thanking
was stopping us. Yeah.
thanking all your producers and then throwing in a good old salute to Stan Lee.
Well, I think it just really shows. Yeah, we are everywhere.
But I mean, hey, hats off to Dick Suckle because I mean, he went out there, he went on the line.
Must you?
And-
No, I can't show this episode to my children.
What? That's his name, Dick Suckle.
No, stop it. It's
So,
Richard Suckle.
Richard.
For a reason.
But his friends call him Dick. So, anyways, we wanted to just congratulate Dick
So we don't call you
for
Lon
being
Lopez.
the Geek of the Week because he is in a worldwide stage and he threw in a little fanboy cred at the very end.
Absolutely.
We applaud you, Dick. So, our Geek of the Week, Dick Suckle. Let's hear it for him, everybody.
Dick
Yeah.
Suckle.
Dick
The
Suckle.
man.
Stop it.
We
I just
love
want to
it.
keep saying Dick Suckle.
I know you do.
All right.
Dick
Well,
That's why I was afraid to do this show.
that's
Sorry.
just about all the time we have for Moron versus Fanboy. We want to thank our guest tonight, Jason Salazar. Don't forget to check out his web series, Donovan and Sims.
Yes.
And Beyond Forever Studios YouTube page. There's a
Yes,
lot of
yes.
other
There's
good stuff there.
youtube.com/BeyondFS as well as youtube.com/Donovan and Sims.
They have your own channel, right?
And we have our own channel. Or just go to beyondforever.net. It'll link you to everything.
Donovan and Sims also has a Facebook page, correct?
It does. Facebook and a Twitter. All just Donovan and Sims. Look it up.
Lovely.
We're taking over every social thing we can think of, or at least the ones that we like.
MySpace?
No my face. No,
My
no,
face?
no tumbling.
All right.
No LinkedIn's.
So make sure you check it
Friendster?
out. It's an awesome series. That's all the time we have. We want to thank our director tonight, Rudy Loida, our assistant segment producer stepping in tonight, Dave Tapia. And thank you all for watching. Check us out next time. I'm Lon Lopez from MoronLife.com.
And I'm Derek McCaw from FanboyPlanet.com.
Follow us on Twitter at MoronLife.
And at FanboyPlanet.
That'll do it for this week. Tune in next week for Moron versus Fanboy. Thanks for watching.